Copy pipes and tubes. Sounds pretty basic, right?
Hmm.
But get this. By next year, 2025, the global market for these, well, seemingly simple items is estimated to be a staggering USD 26,340 million.
Yeah, it's quite something. Really puts it in perspective.
Let's unpack this. I mean, what are the hidden forces pumping up this market, and what does the future plumbing landscape really look like?
Exactly. Today, we're diving deep into a detailed market research report to, understand the dynamics at play.
Okay.
Our goal is to go beyond just the raw numbers and extract the truly crucial insights. The current market size, the key factors fueling its growth, any potential speed bumps, the major trends shaping the industry, and how these factors vary across different regions.
All right, let's get a sense of the overall trajectory then. What kind of growth are we actually looking at?
Well, the report paints a picture of significant expansion. The global market for copper pipes and tubes is projected to reach USD 43,256.2 million by 2033.
Wow, okay. 43 billion.
That translates to a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 6.40% between 2025 and 2033.
6.4%.
Yeah, and this projection is built on data from 2024 as the base year. This 6.4% CAGR, while healthy, is particularly noteworthy when you consider, the maturity of the construction industry in some regions.
Right.
It signals a robust underlying demand fueled by the specific factors we'll get into.
A solid growth rate indeed. So what are the main engines driving this demand? What's behind it?
Well, two primary forces are really at work here. First, we're seeing substantial growth in construction and infrastructure development worldwide.
Okay, construction. That makes sense.
Increasing urbanization means more people are living in cities, and that leads to a greater need for both residential and commercial buildings.
So as cities grow, so does the need for the pipes within them. Pretty straightforward link there.
Precisely. And the figures really back this up. In the U.S., for example, construction spending increased by 0.5% just from November to December 2024.
Just in 1 month.
Yep. And it was 4.3% higher than in December 2023. The total for 2024 reached $2,154.4 billion. That's a 6.5% increase from 2023.
That's a huge amount of construction activity.
It is. And this surge directly translates to a greater demand for copper pipes used in essential building systems like water supply, drainage, and HVAC systems, especially in rapidly expanding economies.
And you mentioned sustainability.
Right. And furthermore, with a growing emphasis on sustainability, copper's complete recyclability makes it a preferred material for environmentally conscious building projects.
Okay, so construction is a major piece. That's clear. What's the other key driver you mentioned?
The second significant factor is the expanding renewable energy sector.
Ah, renewables. Interesting.
Copper possesses exceptional electrical and thermal conductivity, which makes it vital for technologies such as solar thermal panels and geothermal heat pumps.
Solar panels using copper pipes. I hadn't immediately made that connection. How's that work?
Well, what's fascinating here is the role copper plays in the heat exchangers of solar thermal systems. Think of these as devices that efficiently transfer the sun's heat to water. Copper's great at absorbing that solar energy.
Okay, I see. For the heat transfer part.
Exactly. And in geothermal systems, copper pipes are essential for the efficient transport of heat, to and from the ground.
And that sector is growing fast.
Oh, absolutely. This sector is experiencing remarkable growth. Global annual renewable capacity additions jumped by nearly 50% in 2023.
50%.
Yeah, reaching almost 510 gigawatts.
Yeah.
And China is really leading the way in solar PV and wind power expansion.
So as the global shift towards renewables accelerates,
The demand for copper in these applications is just set to rise significantly. It's a crucial material for that transition.
so robust growth fueled by both traditional construction and this cutting-edge renewable energy. Are there any potential headwinds, any speed bumps that could slow this down?
Yes, there is a key restraint to consider, and that's the volatility of copper prices.
Ah, the commodity markets.
Exactly. As a commodity, copper's price can fluctuate significantly. It's sensitive to supply and demand dynamics, geopolitical events, and just overall economic conditions.
Right, commodity markets can certainly be unpredictable. How does this price volatility actually affect the copper pipe and tube market?
Well, when copper prices fluctuate, it directly impacts the production costs for manufacturers. Pretty simple link.
Sure.
This can create challenges in setting stable prices for their products, and it can ultimately affect how affordable these pipes and tubes are for consumers, for the end users.
So if prices spike.
Yeah, if copper prices rise too sharply, some industries or end users might be incentivized to start looking around for, less expensive alternative materials.
Cost is always a consideration, isn't it? Okay, looking ahead then, what are some of the key trends we should be paying attention to in this market? What's shaping the future here?
A really significant trend is the increasing demand for energy-efficient and sustainable solutions. We touched on this a bit with green building.
Right, the recyclability.
Exactly. And copper's 100% recyclability gives it a distinct advantage as environmental responsibility just becomes a greater priority in construction and, frankly, other sectors too.
Absolutely. The ability to recycle and reuse materials is becoming, well, non-negotiable in many ways.
It really is. And beyond just recyclability, copper's excellent thermal conductivity makes it highly valuable in energy-efficient HVAC systems.
Okay, back to HVAC again.
Yes, because as energy costs rise and environmental awareness grows, there's just a greater demand for systems that minimize energy consumption. And copper plays a crucial role in actually achieving that efficiency.
Makes sense. What's another key trend shaping this market?
Another important trend is the technological advancements, both in manufacturing and in recycling.
How so?
Well, on the manufacturing side, innovations like automated production processes and the development of improved copper alloys can help lower production costs and, importantly, enhance the quality of the pipes and tubes.
So producing better products more efficiently, cheaper, better.
Exactly. And then in recycling, there's a growing focus on developing more efficient and cost-effective methods for recovering and reusing copper.
Closing the loop.
Precisely. These enhanced recycling technologies can increase the supply of recycled copper, which is not only environmentally beneficial, but can also contribute to stabilizing or maybe even reducing material costs over time.
That could potentially offset some of the price volatility we talked about.
It could, yes. And we're seeing progress in the broader recycling industry, too, which is encouraging. Companies like Tomra Systems developing advanced sorting technologies for aluminum and collaborations like the one between Galoo and Stellantis to improve end-of-life vehicle recycling. It just points towards the general direction of innovation in resource recovery, which benefits copper, too.
It sounds like the market is not just expanding, but also getting, well, smarter.
Yeah.
More sophisticated in its operations. Now, let's look at how things differ geographically. What do the regional dynamics tell us? Where's the action?
Okay. Currently, North America is the dominant player in the copper pipes and tubes market. It accounts for over 40% of global revenue.
Over 40%. That's substantial.
It is. The estimated market size there is USD 745.80 million in 2025. And the region is projected to grow at a CAGR of 4.9% from 2025 to 2033.
Almost 5% growth. What's behind North America's leading position? Why so dominant?
Well, several factors contribute. Continued urbanization and population growth, especially in metropolitan areas, we saw about a 6.4% increase in North America's urban population just between 2010 and 2020.
Right.
That drives significant demand for reliable infrastructure, including copper piping for water and heating systems. Plus, you have ongoing infrastructure modernization efforts.
Replacing old systems.
Exactly, particularly in older cities needing to replace outdated, maybe failing systems with more durable materials like copper.
Yeah.
That's a key factor.
And how does this break down within North America itself? The U.S. versus Canada versus Mexico?
Good question. Within North America, the U.S. market is by far the largest. It's estimated at USD 689.44 million in 2025, with a projected CAGR of 4.7%. Okay. Canada is estimated at USD 11,169.50 million, with a slightly higher 5.7% CAGR. In Mexico, at USD 886.87 million, with a 5.4% CAGR.
What's driving the U.S. specifically?
In the U.S., it's really robust construction activity, which we mentioned, but also quite stringent plumbing regulations. These often prioritize durable and safe materials like copper because of its resistance to corrosion and bacterial growth.
Health and safety standards play a role.
Definitely. For Canada, it's more about its expanding urban centers and related infrastructure projects contributing to its growth. And, well, similar trends are at play in Mexico.
Okay, so North America is the current leader, holding the biggest share. But which region is experiencing the fastest growth? Where's the momentum?
Oh, that would be Asia Pacific.
Yeah.
Or APAC.
Okay.
Currently, APAC accounts for around 23% of global revenue, with a market size of about USD 321.60 million in 2025.
So smaller share than North America right now.
Right. But its projected CAGR is remarkable 9.1% from 2025 to 2033.
Wow, 9.1%. That's nearly double the North American rate.
It is. It makes it the fastest growing region by a significant margin.
That's a considerable difference in growth rate. What's fueling this rapid expansion in APAC?
It really comes down to the rapid pace of urbanization and industrialization across many countries in the APAC region. That's the primary driver.
More cities, more industry.
Exactly. And this leads to a substantial increase in demand for HVAC systems, both residential and commercial buildings. And as we discussed, copper's properties make it well suited for these.
Great.
Interestingly, India has a significant global presence in the consumption of heating, air conditioning, and refrigeration units. And its HVACR exports are also notable, so that's a factor there.
And beyond HVAC.
Well, just the sheer growth of cities necessitates efficient and reliable plumbing systems. And copper pipes are increasingly favored for their durability and long lifespan, especially when you're building infrastructure meant to last.
Can you give us a glimpse into some of the key markets within APAC? Who are the big players there?
Certainly. China is the largest market in APAC, no surprise there, estimated at USD 206.57 million in 2025, with an 8.6% CAGR.
Still very strong growth.
Very strong, and partly driven by its leading role in renewable energy deployment, linking back to that driver.
Makes sense. And India?
India is another crucial market, estimated at USD 632.16 million, but with an impressive 11.0% CAGR.
11%. Even faster than the regional average.
Yeah, fueled by its really rapid urbanization and infrastructure development push. Other significant APAC markets include Japan, that's growing at 7.6% CAGR, South Korea at 8.2%, Australia 8.4%, Singapore 9.4%.
High growth across the board.
Pretty much. Taiwan at 8.9%, Southeast Asia collectively as a block at 9.9%, and then the rest of the APAC region also strong at 8.9%.
It really sounds like APAC is poised for significant growth in this market, a key region to watch. What about other regions around the globe, just briefly?
Sure. Europe holds a substantial share, actually over 30% of the global market, with a projected CAGR of 5.5%, so large but slower growth than APAC.
Okay.
South America accounts for more than 5% share and is expected to grow at a healthy 7.1% CAGR.
Pretty good clip.
Yeah. The Middle East has around a 2% share, but with a strong 7.7% CAGR. You see places like Qatar's growth potentially linked to urbanization and, international events driving construction.
Right.
And Africa currently holds about 1% share, growing at 6.7% CAGR. Growth there, in countries like Nigeria, for instance, is influenced by its increasing population and expanding industrial sector.
So really varied growth drivers and rates across a diverse global landscape.
Right.
Okay, let's switch focus slightly. How is the market segmented based on how these pipes and tubes are actually used?
Sure.
Where do we see the most demand by application?
Okay. The report indicates that HVAC and refrigeration is likely the dominant segment currently.
That seems logical.
Yeah, it makes sense given, rising global temperatures and the increasing need for efficient cooling and heating solutions pretty much everywhere. Copper's excellent thermal conductivity is a primary reason for its widespread use here, as it contributes significantly to energy efficiency.
We keep coming back to that efficiency angle.
It's central. But interestingly, plumbing is identified as the fastest growing application segment.
Faster than HVAC, why is that?
It seems copper's inherent resistance to corrosion, its durability, and its ability to resist mineral buildup, things you really want in plumbing, make it a highly desirable material for long-lasting systems. So its adoption seems to be accelerating in plumbing specifically.
Preferred for longevity.
Exactly. Other applications include industrial heat exchange equipment and a broader others category, though the report doesn't dive into massive detail on those unless the data is particularly significant.
Got it. Okay, finally, who are the major players in this global market? What does the competitive landscape look like at a high level?
Well, the report suggests that leading companies are increasingly investing in advanced manufacturing technologies, trying to enhance efficiency, like we talked about.
Right, automation, alloys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're also really focusing on sustainability by leveraging copper's recyclability. It's becoming a selling point. Some of the key companies mentioned include names like Cambridge-Lee Industries, LLC, Seroclo Products, LLC, KME Group SPA, and several others.
So a mix of established players focusing on tech and sustainability.
That's the picture, yeah. It's a market where innovation in production methods and a clear commitment to environmental benefits are becoming increasingly important for staying competitive.
Okay, so to bring it all together then, the global copper pipes and tubes market is not only large, surprisingly large maybe, but it's also on a strong growth trajectory.
Definitely.
Driven primarily by expanding construction infrastructure and that booming renewable energy sector.
Key drivers, yes.
While fluctuating copper prices pose a potential challenge, a sort of headwind.
The volatility.
The increasing demand for energy-efficient solutions and those advancements in manufacturing and recycling seem to be creating positive momentum.
Right, pushing things forward.
And regionally, and North America is currently the leader in terms of market share, but Asia Pacific is really the one to watch, showing the most rapid growth by far.
Absolutely, the fastest mover.
And in terms of applications, while HVAC and refrigeration is dominant now, plumbing is actually the fastest growing segment due to copper's durability.
That's a great summary. It really highlights how interconnected various global trends are. Urbanization, economic development, the push for sustainability, renewable energy,
Yeah.
and how a seemingly basic material like copper actually plays a crucial role in all of it. It's quite embedded.
It really is. And that brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. Considering this really intricate web of factors driving the copper pipe market construction, energy, sustainability, technology,
Yeah.
what potential game changers might be out there? Think about innovations in material science, maybe shifts in construction practices, or perhaps new energy technologies. Could these solidify copper's dominance even further? Or might they pave the way for alternative solutions in the years to come?
It's a great question.
It's a fascinating intersection of economics, technology, and global development to ponder, isn't it? How will our choices shape the infrastructure of the future?